can't beat the month of May out here in Indianapolis.
I love motorsports medicine. We do it here better than anybody else.
I think I've gained probably 10 years of motorsports experience and knowledge just in the 10 months that I've been here.
We are the only place that the Motorsports Medicine Fellowship exists.
There is nothing in this country that provides this level of opportunity. Indiana University owns it.
My name is Julia Weiser. I'm an emergency EMS and motorsports physician. I am the medical director for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the NTT IndyCar Series, and I am the program director for the Motorsports Medicine Fellowship, the only one in the world.
We have 17 races, start in March, we end in September. And we're here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we're at home. We are responsible for the well-being of every human on the premises.
A lot of times we get to the track before the sun comes up. We'll get ready to take care of people, just kind of like an urgent care from about sun up till sundown. We'll be out here watching the cars, making sure that you're responding to everything. If you're in the pits, making sure everything stays safe. There's a lot of sharp things in the pits. There's a lot of fast things in the pits. There's a lot of things that can catch on fire.
They need all hands on deck up at the Infield Care Center, so we're out there, we're out in the snake pit, kind of applying the things that we've been learning, for my whole career at this point. So getting to do it outside of the hospital is pretty cool.
I knew I wanted to do motorsports medicine since college. As an intern, I had an opportunity to work as a, rising emergency medicine physician. I was working with crowds. I had a response golf cart. I came out here and I rotated as an emergency medicine resident during our month of May elective. By the time I applied for my EMS fellowship and I matched into EMS fellowship here, an opportunity came up that I could also do motorsports medicine fellowship at the same time. It was a fantastic year. It was one of the best years of my life.
Just short of 560 acres of infield, meaning inside of the oval. Anybody who is in here and they need any medical attention, we're there for them. And on the day of the 500, that is more than 320,000 people. Think about the city of that size and how many different emergencies would normally happen in people, right? So diabetic emergencies, strokes, heart attacks, all the things that you would see typically in an emergency room, we see them here. I'm fortunate that I have an incredible team. I have a phenomenal right hand. My number one, I know people say number two, but she's my number one. My deputy medical director, Dr. Angie Feege.
I first started coming out here as a registered nurse before I went to medical school. Worked in the Infield Care Center. I became a flight nurse after that and came out here with Lifeline for several years. I think around 2006 or 7, I started working on track.
I grew up literally just 8 miles from the racetrack. I've been out here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway since 1991, and it's really been a phenomenal experience, of course, for me. It's a dream come true for anybody who gets to do this.
There are several of us, so we split the responsibilities of the month pretty evenly. This year, I was out here for the Grand Prix race and 3 of the practice days, including Fast Friday, which is one of my favorites.
Probably the most common thing we see are injuries, slip and falls, people hurting their ankles, hurting their elbows, something that happens after a fall. Depending on the weather, if it gets pretty hot and humid, we obviously see a lot more heat injury, and then things that come with people having a good time. We certainly see that on race day. Where we are now is actually where any injured driver would go. On the other side of the wall is where fans and spectators and anybody else would go for any care.
This is kind of our primary spot where we'll treat most of our patients. This is where we have our wound cart, our eye care, our eye wash station, which interestingly enough becomes quite useful in a setting like a racetrack. This is the area where we have somebody who we know is already critically ill. We need to stabilize them before transfer. We will preferentially put them in this space. Gives us more room to work around, allows for more people around it. However, if somebody was in one of these beds and they rapidly decompensated, we can start treating patients here as well. This is our optometry office. So as part of IndyCar Care, all of our drivers have access to an IndyCar optometrist who also ensures that their vision meets the IndyCar standards. We have the strictest standards of all racing series out there. So it's nice that we have somebody who can do it, who's trained to do it.
Not only do we have this hospital running. I mean, it's probably the second or third busiest hospital in Indianapolis that day, but we also have a fully functional hospital over at the Snake Pit area as well.
The Snake Pit is the EDM concert that is set up in Turn 3. It starts promptly at 7 a.m. It caps at about 21,000 people or so. Our main goal is not only providing good care to all of our patrons and drivers, but also making sure that we do not lean into the 911 response of our community outside of the IMS, because life goes on. We're meant to be self-sustained. There is ways for us to call for help if we need help.
I've been a race fan since I grew up. I majored in mechanical engineering in college, and I wasn't really fulfilled with my engineering job, so started shadowing and volunteering, which kind of opened the door to medicine for me. I was kind of flabbergasted because I didn't know this could be a full-time job, and so now I'm here, and it's the best job in the world. First day, mid-Ohio, I'm on the safety truck. I'm just starting to learn like everybody's names. The medical side is something that I'd been training on for 3 years, so that part, was always there. But actually operating as a safety team member was new to me. And the crew leader Tim Boffman, who is the head of IndyCar safety, he says, let's go over this scenario. What if we get a car upside down in this turn in the gravel called China Beach? And he tells me, your job is to be the first one to the car. Nobody beats you to that driver. And about 3 or 4 minutes later, Simon Pagino kind of barrel rolls into China Beach. The reason that I was trying to get to the car as fast as I can is because I got to see the mechanism of injury. I got to see this car barrel rolling 12 times through the gravel. As I'm running through the gravel, kind of time slows down with all of that adrenaline, kind of trying to calm my brain and thinking about what are the steps that I need to take if I get there and I ask you, hey, are you okay, Simon? And I don't hear anything. Kind of slide in just because he's upside down. It's the easiest way to access him and ask if he's okay. And he said, yes, I'm okay, nothing hurts, get me out.
As a medic, your one and only job is be the first one to the driver, make sure they're okay, and if they're not, take care of them. If they're okay, just hang on to them until we get them off the track surface safely because the cars continue going. His very first day, he did exactly that. Leonard did not hesitate for a second and slid right underneath the car to make sure that Simon was okay. Even if the driver is okay, we will still get deployed to pick up the driver and bring them for evaluation.
We go on the weekends to all the different racing venues. We spend a lot of time working with the drivers and with the paddock to make sure that we're providing equivalent care that they would get anywhere else.
They're maybe not able to see their primary care physician for months, so we will step in that role for them, and we'll take care of all the minor injuries. We travel with an x-ray, so we do diagnose fractures on the road as well. We travel with an ultrasound. We travel with all the major medications that we would need, antibiotics, fluids, nausea medication, stuff like that.
I'm Bert Vargas. I'm a neurologist, and I'm the latest addition to the IndyCar medical team. I've been doing motorsports medicine since 2017 with the NASCAR AMR safety team. As AMR was looking to expand out their team and really develop a unique motorsports safety package, they decided that they wanted to include a neurologist, and that's how they found me. Concussion has really been on the top of a lot of people's minds, especially in the pro sports space, for many years now, and I think you've seen a huge shift in how people approach incorporating neurology into the event itself. What we've seen is a shift of a lot of other sports now beginning to see some true value in having a neurologist there to be part of the team that assesses an athlete, part of the team that helps determine how to make a determination of when that athlete is ready to return back to sport. And so I'm hoping that that's the kind of value that I can add to this already amazing team.
Coming from background playing sports and football like that, we're kind of taught to not tell the doctors everything. If I tell them that, I am having concussion symptoms, they're going to take me out of the game and I want to keep playing. I've been incredibly impressed by the relationship that Dr. Visor and the rest of the medical team has built with the drivers. I think the relationship with IU and IndyCar, having a consistent medical presence that is the same group of professionals, has really built this bond of trust with the drivers, and they trust us and they tell us what they're feeling.
I have essentially a highly tuned, highly trained, elite level athlete that now I'm embedded with, that I travel with, and hopefully I'm going to be able to develop that sense of trust with, to where when they're not feeling well, they'll let me know. And when they're not feeling well and maybe they don't recognize that I get to know them well enough that I can recognize when things aren't right.
The whole point of this fellowship is to expose already excellent emergency physician to various aspects of practice of motorsports medicine on-track response, working with safety teams, knowing what it's like to prepare for mass gathering from a perspective of a medical director of a speedway. We have a core group of 6 faculty physicians with decades of knowledge, not only of motorsports, but also of EMS.
This fellowship is really sort of an expression of a lot of hard work that has gone in over the decades to make medicine on the track what it is.
I finished the Motorsports Medicine Fellowship in 2022, not only with IndyCar, but I got to train with NASCAR, IMSA, Formula One. So I got to get a really good, broad spectrum of training in the different series and how they do things.
You get the hands-on training with the drivers, you get to learn to interact with drivers, you get to learn how the processes work, providing medicine on the track as well as off the track.
We have an elective for senior emergency medicine residents. We also have visiting residents who are essentially rotating with us and maybe auditioning for the fellowship.
So we've got 2 residents out in the med car right now. We've got 2 residents out in the pit medical carts, and then we have 2 residents here in the care center.
It's so cool just to be able to not only go down to the track side and really get to interact with some of the teams, but also just really see as the spectators are pouring in, seeing the crowd continue to build, kind of get an understanding of how things are working initially, and then come race day, it's all systems go.
IU, I think, is a very well-rounded program from a residency's perspective. We have a ton of pathology, we have a ton of experiences as evidenced by this. Go out on the track was obviously a super fun thing. Getting to ride out with some of the fellows and the attendings on the 1200 car is pretty cool. To go literally on-track medicine is pretty awesome.
Motorsports medicine is definitely something that's not widely known about in the world of racing, but it's also not widely known about in the world of medicine. It's definitely a really cool opportunity to find out more about it. I came halfway across the country for this, so it's pretty cool.
Liz Sullivan is going to be our fellow starting July 1st. She's currently faculty at IU West, so she's coming in with experience of at least 1 year of being an attending, which is fantastic. I actually did the same thing. I took a year off between residency and fellowship, and I thought that was an incredible contribution to me being an independent doctor.
Well, I've grown up around this track, love it to death, and I've always been very passionate about racing. It's been my favorite sport forever.
Myself and the other nurses, we work very closely with our fellows. We're really looking for someone who is a motorsports enthusiast. We look for them to be evidence-based, very strong in their research practice, because we're always trying to bring innovative practice to the motorsports industry, and the fellowship is a great way in order to do that.
It will be a brick in this giant building that we're building in terms of contributing to building up the specialty. So it's not just coming in and kind of learning and showing up when told so. There's a lot of initiative, there's a lot of work, and there's a lot of flexibility that's required. So we just kind of look for a person who demonstrates their prior interest, and involvement with some sort of motorsports activities, research, shadowing, working at a racetrack, just kind of showing to us that it wasn't, oh, it sounds like a cool thing to do, because it is a cool thing to do, but we want to make sure that whoever's doing it, that they are in it, because if you don't love it, it can make for a very long year. Our generation is going to focus on making sure that it's becoming more organized, more evidence-based. We want to increase access to motorsports trained professionals. all across the country.
This Motorsports Medicine Fellowship is good for advancing the state of the art of motorsports medicine. We have so many resources here with IU and IndyCar safety. We really have access to the best of the best.
Now we have increased opportunities to make changes across the board for motorsports medicine, be it education for residents and fellows, be it care for the drivers, be it care for our guests that come into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
When I graduate, I am going to be moving to San Antonio, Texas, where I'll be working as an emergency medicine physician. I will also be medical director for the IMSA AMR safety team. Not everybody has to do this fellowship to be involved in motorsports medicine. I just think that this is such an amazing training program. It's probably the best way to do it. I will definitely cherish my time here. It's been a pretty wild ride.